Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party and my buddy Rhett, and we are just chilling, doing some code. Just finished up our space and time video and did some unit testing over there. And now I watched last week's video, and yeah, I got a weird little um, I don't know. It's kind of weird because you kind of have to imagine things, but basically it looks like when I set this up, I sort of cut a corner here and I did not um, get all the data that I need. Now I know that the where the data is, it's kind of one of those things where like there's such a subtle difference between the way you get sort of a list of data in discrete versus the way you get a list of data in continuous. Um, and sometimes it's like these subtle differences can be a little bit more confusing than like if it was just very very different. But it looks like we get maybe I think they're um, it kind of seems like yeah what we're looking for is um, an array of results. Maybe that's what we're dealing with here. Um, but I don't know. So if you don't, so basically the idea, the thing is there's this technology. It's called Angler, or it's called Voice API, and there's actually two sort of sections of it. One is like it's speaking, and then one of it is it's listening. So we're focused on the listening. Then once you get into listening, there's two sorts of sections. There's discrete and continuous. And then to understand discrete is like you interact with it and it stops. So you go like hello, and then you get sort of you just go through this process and then it stops. It listens for one thing and then it returns a value, and it does act a little different in that it gives you these sort of alternates, and then it seems like I only saw this sort of behavior in English only, where you get like it recognizes the word, but then it gives all these slang results. Um, like when I tried it in Spanish, you did not. So with this, I set it up so that you can select different things in Spanish, Mexico, and then hola, hola, hola. Well, hola. I guess getting closer to it doesn't help. Huh. Let's try. Let's try moving it. Maybe I have a bug now. Let's move it back to English. Hello. Huh. Let's go back to Spanish. Hola. Hello. Mm, ¿Cómo estás? Oh, how weird is that? So hola would not work. It just, and I have seen that before. I've seen that we had a word. I think it was what in English for weeks on weeks and weeks. It just you could say what into it and it would not respond. It would just act like you never said anything. And for some reason, it looks like hola is not working. Um, but you notice that it just like that. It's just like hola. Okay, so this time it did work, and it only gave one. So it didn't. I would imagine Ola has all kinds of interesting spellings. I know we were doing like hello in like the informal hello in Russian, and it was giving two results for that one. Something apparently had to do something to do with some kind of cat meme or something like that in Russian. Um, but anyway, so that is discrete, and that's the way it works. And you say something into discrete, and then There's and then it stops on its own, and there's no like you're not really managing events and things like that because there's only one event. It's getting a result. That's the only event. Um, because you know that the event was started, and you know the very next event's going to be end. That's it for discrete. But you go to continuous, it's a whole different concept. And continuous is like you started, and it's just always listening, and it's always returning results. And basically, we have some little kind of bug here because let's just do this. Um, Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? And so, but you tell me your name. I said, won't you tell me your name? But anyways, like all we really get is this, hello, how are you? Yeah, so, okay, so that's not doing quite what I remember it doing last week. Let's see. Hello, hello, how are you? So you notice that like our transcript here just says hello, but our result was how are you? And I think that what we should have is three transcripts, but I think this is our count. And I think the problem is here, and I think it's because I'm always returning the first one. So, and see, so like for the, and so I, looks like I've combined result. Okay, so this is if recognition is continuous, and then this is basically assuming that if it's not continuous, it's discrete. Um, and and I will say that like this is a WebKit spec. It's not an actual spec, and it's completely like the spec is not complete. If you read about it, it's an incomplete spec, and I'm guessing all of this stuff is going to change very very dramatically in the future. Like they're probably like saying, oh, it shouldn't be results. It shouldn't, who knows. But I would imagine that if and it hasn't changed. I've been working on this stuff for like over a year now, and it hasn't changed at all in a couple years. So, there's let's see. So, and because of that, like that was actually the whole point to this thing. Basically, as long as we see all greens, um, that means that like nothing has changed in this in the API. Um, but anyway, so here we are, and we're trying to basically. I don't know exactly what we're going to do here, but one thing I do know that's wrong is that this probably should um, have at least two in here, um, and that this is. We'll have to go look in our continuous template. Be the easiest way to tell. This is in all transcripts. So we want all, for continuous, we want all transcripts to have um, an array. It looks like. It looks like that was sort of my intentions when I did that. It may not make sense now that we're digging in, but so for continuous, so here's our all transcripts, and actually have it typed to be a discrete transcript. So that could be a problem also. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out where, well, results array, all transcripts. So here's where we push it in. Um, so it kind of seems like, and I think that does make sense to put the result and the confidence in there. I think I'm not 100% sure, But okay, so and then let's see, yeah, and then all transcripts get shoved in here, and then that's how into this results array. So this is the current language, this discrete language, first transcript. So this is whatever the very first thing is, which is a little weird, right? Because it seems like the first transcript, if that name is correct, results array. It seems like that should stay hello there, but I don't know. We got a mess. We got a effing mess. So I think one thing that's obviously wrong is that this should also be something other than just discrete transcripts. Let's see what we have available. Okay, so I do have a continuous transcript, but it is identical right now. So let's do this. And I do think it is kind of misleading what I'm doing right now. I just don't know what else to do. Because it does sort of imply that there's a difference between a discrete and a continuous, and right now they are the same. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what to do on that. Like, that's if they do, if they do end up varying, then maybe this will cause a problem. Find a problem for me. But it kind of just feels like something is wrong right here. I can't quite put my finger on it, and I guess it's because um, result 0. This result must be a set of results, and so I'm gonna do this const result, and I'm mostly doing this, what I'm doing right now, and I'm really thinking more out loud because this is something that I do all the time, um, just to sort of make the English make more sense. And say array from like this, and then console.log results array, and then result. Oh no, it's not. It's result arrays. And this is fun, right? Like for me as a coder, this is a lot of fun. Um, Digging in and trying to figure this kind of thing out. And you have to learn how to make that a fun part of your life, because some people get really worked up. And if they let themselves get worked up, they will. If you let yourself get worked up, then probably at the most important times you're going to get super stressed out at work, and you really don't want that. Um, so, hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? I love you. It's wild that I didn't hear her say I love you. But okay, so this is our result arrays. Let's see, there's 3 of them, and all 3 of them have a their own alternative. Oops. why don't you tell me your name? Huh, that's interesting. Um, okay, so this is what came back at one time, right? So, and what's really interesting here is in the second one, it had all kinds of variations. So it got hello, how are you? It felt really good about that. And then this one, it actually gave me three sets of variations. And then this one, all right, so that, and like I'm having a hard time. Like I don't know if my brain isn't quite functioning at 100% right now or all that, but I'm having a hard time sort of getting all this right in my in my headspace. Okay, so basically we take a result transcript and confidence and we make it into, we push that into there. But our whole situation is different here. What we want is not a result in transcript. We want an array of results and transcripts. Or transcripts and confidences, but then some of them, like the second one, actually has an array inside of itself. So I feel like let me see. I think I have too many things open right now. A continuous transcript is different. I think it is an array of these, not a. So export interface continuous transcripts. Which is basically like this, and it's transcripts, and which is a array. And then we're going to see if I can just say or continuous transcript and if anything breaks. It's a little easier since I only have two things now. An array of continuous transcripts, and we need to import it. That's kind of interesting because, yeah, it's saying, hey, like those two don't go together. And yeah, I think that's probably fine. I mean, that's probably what we want. And I didn't know that, right? Like I didn't know that before. All continuous transcripts. And then this is an array of continuous transcripts. And we'll initiate it to an empty array. And so okay, so now we have our results array that ends up getting put in right there, right? And I think what happened was continuous result. Go to definition. And this should probably be a continuous transcripts. And then it's like, well, do we want to do that? I think we want to do that. And that should break things, I'm assuming. And we're going to come back here. This is like always a very mentally challenging thing for me, like when I start okay, continuous transcript. Okay, why is this broken? And const continuous. Transcript is a discrete result. Let's go over here. Do I have a continuous result? So I did not change that. Let's go ahead and go back. And so I'm kind of flying blind at this point. And we're just kind of like trying to make things work. And then I'm gonna have to like, so this makes sense. All right, so I do have a continuous. Let's see, all transcripts. Where is this guy coming from? And all transcripts so we want to return all continuous transcripts. So we're not going to get nothing back because we're not populating this. So it's sort of like I went into a fog there, right? I didn't really understand what was going on. But I thought this was going to get me out of here. And that is because continuous transcript is of type continuous result array. And continuous result array, go to definition, has all transcripts. It's called all transcripts. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but and then what? And I don't think it's this. I'm hoping that this brings it all together. I would love to say that I have a full functioning understanding of what's happening at this moment. Okay, so now I think what I'm pretty sure, since we aren't populating, it's just an empty array. We're just not going to get anything over there, right? Hello, how are you? Yeah. So that makes sense. So now these are empty. So now we need to put something in there into our continuous transcripts. And it's over here, we're kind of doing this all outside of there, but we really don't want, and we really don't want to do it that way. So all continuous transcripts, we want to put something in there. And And it's not just going to let me just put anything in there because I have it strongly typed. Right, like if I tried to, yeah, it's going to be like, that's not the right thing. You have to give us something that has a transcript in there. So all transcripts is a array of continuous transcripts. So sorry again. So let's go ahead and create a variable const, and we're going to call it a continuous transcript. But it is lowercase c, which I believe is camel case because the first letter is small, so it's like its head is down. I believe that's how that works. And it is of type continuous transcript. And that is equal to and let's go to the definition. Okay, so that's going to want a string and a number, a transcript and a confidence. So let's go back. Hello. And we don't want a comma. We don't want a semicolon there. We want a comma. And we want to give it a number. And then we want to push our continuous transcript in there. Sometimes I just have to do things sort of step by step like this just because like I just can't wrap my mind around everything. Okay, so the problem is this needs to be an array of continuous transcripts. No. Missing a continuous transcript. What? All right, all continuous transcripts. Oh, push. And inside of this is going to be an array of continuous transcripts. Oh, okay, so let's try this. Well, it's weird because an empty array should be fine, right? Go to definition. Right, so that's an array. Oh, it has to have transcripts as a property. And so basically we want like this, transcripts. Let's see if we hit save. I just want to see what happens over here now. Hello. Yep, so, and then in here, we want our transcript. So we want to do, I think we can just say continuous transcript, right? Hello. Yeah. So now, oh, basically, uh, our transcript is from our results array, right? So our results array for each result console.log. And I just don't even know. Like, I know I have sort of this kind of process that I'm going through has taken me decades to sort of refine. And I don't remember the process in which I refined it. I just think it's just year after year after year of just digging and digging and digging. And I would never be able to teach it because it's just like I can only show examples. I don't just the way I learned it. Like I cannot, and I tried really hard, but like I cannot teach someone how to do a Rubik's cube. I can do a Rubik's cube, and when I was learning it, I literally learned it by hand, no tutorials or anything. I learned it, and then I had the full intentions of learning it in such a way that I would be able to teach someone, and I can't now because I have all these muscle memories in there. And that's kind of what's happening here. I just know what the next step I want to do is to figure out what I need. But anyways, hello. All right. So we have too much noise in here now, but so this is what we're getting. And I can't remember. See, we were getting more than one of these results. Okay, so my console is getting very, very noisy at this point. So let's clean this up. Let's get rid of those two. Result. And then I think I need to try a couple of things. Hello, how are you? All right, so this is our result. Oh, I should put a count. Okay, so we know that like you get the item, you get the index, and you get the whole array when you pass it in like this. So plus index. So this should tell me my result too. So inspect. Hello, how are you? All right, so why don't I, oh, result 0. Am I getting, okay, so continuous result component. Okay, so that's giving me some noise too. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that out of there. That's causing a bit of a misunderstanding. We'll go back to where we were at. Inspect console. Hello, how are you? Okay, so we only get one result back every time. Oh, I only had one. I didn't pause long enough. Okay, so let's clear that out. Hello, how are you? Okay, so we always got one result back. So I'm not looking, I don't think I'm looking at the right thing. And it's because I'm supposed to be looking at result arrays. Oh, that's so funny. And then over here, I called it results array just to confuse the heck out of myself. Let's see, am I using this results arrays anywhere? I'm not. Yes, I am. And this is for continuous only, right? Yeah, so I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. Results array. And I honestly don't think this would have been nearly as confusing if I didn't already learn discrete. I think the learning of discrete has made the learning of continuous much more difficult because I already have all these weird sort of assumptions built into my knowledge that I'm unaware of. Because as we learn things, we sort of bury concepts into our subconscious, and then trying to tease them out can be very, very difficult. Hello? How are you? Stop. Okay, so this is good. So now we're getting multiple results back, and so this is our result 1. How are you? This is our result 0. Hello. Now, when I said hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? It had a bunch of variances on that. And that's the only time I've ever seen that in continuous that I remember anyways. So let's try that. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? That is so wild. Oh no, it's just on two names, two things. Okay. So interesting, we had 3 results and now we only have 2 results. So the way it sort of bounces back and forth between the number of results is very, very interesting to me. But I'm guessing this is the one. Oh, okay. I did a bunch of extra words that I probably shouldn't have. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Boop. And result 2 is how are you? Yeah, see, this is so fascinating to me that we get that. And see, we have this is final, but see, the is final just, oh, okay. I think, so up here, I wonder if is final. Yeah, is final is true. Is final is true. Let's go to the very beginning and see. Oh, we can actually see it over here. So is final is false, false, true, true, and then false. And that's the second one. True, false, true, false. Then I'm assuming down here it'll end up with true, 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 true at some point. True and true. We had 3 results. All of them were true. The last one then had 3 different variations with different confidence levels. So it's like 97% confident that it's won't you tell me your name, and then 91% thinks I said why don't you tell me your name, and then 87% why won't you tell me your name. which is pretty cool. Like if you were actually trying to make lyrics for music, um, this might be a very useful tool for you because you're like, oh, okay, um, these are like, which one do you think sounds better? You know, because they all make sense. You know, they're all thing. But why won't you tell me your name? Why don't you tell me your name? Won't you tell me your name? And you can just try them all out and all that, and that's pretty cool. Um, all right, so yes, the next step would be to look at the time, see how much time I've spent on this. 40 minutes, man, it feels longer. This is so hard, right? Like that I think that is one of the hardest parts of aspects of coding is like when you're just like in total confusion with a lot of bad previously known things. So I learned a bunch of stuff on discrete, and now this I built I've built all this infrastructure around the way discrete works, and now continuous works slightly different. And so that infrastructure, instead of actually helping me, actually hurt me. It made it harder for me to understand what was going on, and that um, makes things difficult. Um, and that is going to be a fraction of the pain and suffering that's going to happen when the actual API changes. That is going to be insanely painful. Um, does that mean it's not worth doing? I don't think so. I think it's worth doing because it's effing cool technology. Um, does a one thing I'd really like, the only thing that I would just be like, man, it would be so nice, is if it wasn't tied to the, um, what's it called? Um, did I name it that? Uh, if it wasn't tied to the, um, this thing right here, whatever this, uh, ENES, this whole thing, yeah, because that is a much bigger thing. So let's go to this, go to definition. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. This is the second time today I've just had a really hard time. Deprecated was the word I was trying to remember um, in the last video, which is a word that I typically don't have. Language. Darn it. Yeah, I should do a new chat so I don't. So I have this tomorrow for my other video. What is ES US or EN US? Locale. It's tied to a locale, and I wish they hadn't tied it to a locale because a locale is a lot. Like a locale is tells you it's a measurement system, it's a currency, it's a date time, and it's all kinds of things. And honestly, like I don't know, does Klingon have a currency? Does Klingon have a date time? Does Hopi, American Indian, Native American have a currency, a date time, a measurement system? You know, like it would have been nice if it was just language only, like spoken language only. And it would surprise me if that's what they're hung up on. But anyways, I think I just screwed up. All right, so Control V. All right, so is that right? Okay, so right now I'm creating a continuous index, continuous transcript, and I just hard code it to hello and confidence, and then this. I'll tell you, the whole unit test thing that I've gone through on the other makes me want to just change the way this works so that, uh, you know, like call a function or something from here. But we're just going to go on. All right, so basically we should end up with like the right number of things. They're not going to be the right data, but the right number of data items, I'm hoping. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? So that is fascinating. So how are you? Won't you tell me? Oh, I probably didn't wait long enough. I thought there was 3 for a while there because it was like kind of popping around all over the place. Um, so this is like the final one, and we were getting all kinds of results before. But let's see. So now let's go look at our result or inspect in here. Console. So in here we have speech recognition results. How are you? Won't you tell me your name? So now we have like, yeah, this is, so in here there's another set of arrays, right? So it's like, what we really want is we want to create what is this called? Speech result, recognition result array. So const spr array is equal to result dot I guess it's like this array dot from result dot speech recognition result. Is that right? Here, let's just do this. Let's see. See, that's not a dot. Is that right? This is very confusing. No. All right. All right. This is going to take a second. Let's see. Let's go ahead and put a break right here. Hello. How are you? Oh, why didn't it ever stop there? Did I? What is up here with? Okay, there we go. That's so wild. Okay, so let's clear this out. And let's just type in result. All right. Now. Oh, okay. So array dot from result. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. result. And then, and it's so weird that it's upset about this. So, can I just change that to an any and then is it happy? Yeah, just add any. Add any. Okay, so now we don't want to console log this. Now we want to SPR array. Not STSPR array dot for each. I'm just going to call it an SPR. I don't even know what the SPR stands for anymore. And console.log. Comma SPR. And I guess we should get the I also. Ret threw down her pecan shell. Let's see, let's come in here and undo this breakpoint. Do that. Wow, look at that. So, hello, how are you? I guess it was collecting all that stuff while it was stopped. That's why we saw that. All right, so, and I guess this is a little bit confusing because we don't have the outer loop. Once you start doing these loops within loops within loops, things get pretty confusing pretty quickly. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's do our something literals. String something literals. String literals, maybe? All right. Now, inspect console. Hi there. How are you? Yeah, so there's hi there and how are you? Now, so this one is like interesting, you know. I mean, it's not as interesting because it doesn't have like a bunch of different choices or different like alternatives. But like if we do hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? That won't you tell me your name confuses the heck out of it. So, hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Yeah, so this is our outer thing. So it got hello, and there was only one result. How are you? There was only one result. And then, well, I guess we will want to look at, there's 4 results on this one. Oh, no. And then the other one had 4 alternatives that it thought. And it says, won't you tell me your name, which is exactly right, which is 95%. And then why don't you tell me your name? Why want you tell me your name? And then why won't you tell me your name? So boom, 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 boom. So I think that is the data. That, I mean, I'm finally, I would say that I have some sort of grasp of what's going on with the data now. I was pretty darn confused before. Um, okay, so now this is obviously where we want to have a transcript. But the problem, oh, okay, so transcript is, and it's an array of these transcripts. So basically, we want a new transcript, which is right. But then in here, this is where we want our continuous transcripts to get created. And then I guess we want to create like a const transcripts equals doom, and then we want to push this guy into the transcripts. And then continuous transcripts. And I could never, ever, 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 ever have guessed that this was going to be this confusing and difficult. And I also don't have any estimate of how much longer this is going to take. As we're starting to dig in, like I just don't know when that's going to end. Oh, I keep getting confused. Okay, so transcripts is actually okay, so I have my transcripts here. Does this thing see? Yeah, this thing sees that. Did I just make things really weird? Just created a real weird. Okay. Oh, continuous result. All right. Why? Why is this a problem? Okay, so I'm just going to call these T's. T array. I got a couple of different things going sideways at this moment. T array. Okay, so that's good. So now T array doesn't even exist anymore. All right, transcripts doesn't exist anymore. So T array. Now, what the heck is the problem here? This is a continuous transcript. This is an array of continuous transcripts. This is a all right. What am I doing wrong here? I don't quite understand what the problem is. Okay, what is your problem? Okay. Spell it. Transcript and confidence, right? Now it's going to be complaining that it doesn't have a confidence, right? Okay, what is the difference between this one up here and that one? I don't understand that. That is weird. It is weird that I can't, that this is literally the same thing as this, and I can't push this one in. Oh, Jesus. Jeeble. Jeeble. Hello? How are you? Won't you tell me your name? Alright. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Did I not? I probably didn't wait long enough. Let's try that again. Hello? How are you? Won't you tell me your name? Okay, so I feel like that seems, it just seems better. All right, so now let's put SPR. Although it seems like this one should only be like, yeah, I don't know. SPR dot. Let's do this. Any SPR dot. I guess we need to look at our console. What? Lost all of our. Control Z. Okay. Oh, SPR. SPR. And honestly, like, you might be like going, hey, why are you recording this just struggle bus experience? And that is exactly what I want to record, because I swear, I think that they are these, while these YouTube videos where they just show people just say, okay, now just do this, now just do that, they give developers the wrong, new developers, the wrong idea. They give the developers the idea that they should just sit down and just be able to write code, and that one day they'll, no, that will never happen. You will always have to figure stuff out. And that this is what that looks like. And there's nobody that doesn't do this. No matter, they, when I first started doing this, I would practice. I would practice and practice and practice so that I could knock something out in 3 minutes that would take me an hour and a half to get to where I could do it in 3 minutes. Um, so, hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? All right. So RSPR, speech recognition alternative. Hmm. So that is an SPA. Oh no, an, an SRA. Let's change that just so we. SRA. SRA, speech recognition alternative. SRA dot transcript and SRA dot confidence. Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Now, why do I keep using that one? Because this is the only thing I've ever seen that gives you bad result, like alternate results. And most things you only get one result. So this is an edge case that I found that is real, and it is very possible that I could have used this for months and been developing and never come across this edge case where we get a whole bunch of results. Um, yeah, why don't you tell me like this, where we get two different results for the same in the same thing? Like most of them are like this, where you just get the one result. Like for hello, I got one result. For how are you, I got one result. But won't you tell me your name? I got two results. And I don't know of any other. I haven't come across another phrase that does that. Um, so now we've got this phrase says hello confidence. So I feel like something. What I really want is for this to not have this transcript in it, to not have that transcript in it, to only have these three transcripts on it. So I'm getting all transcripts for every record, and I only want the transcript for the one for that record. And that's just going to be more just data teasing. I think what it is clear, like when I watched yesterday, when I watched last week's video, and I was like, oh man, this, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then while we were working on this, it even got foggier and foggier. It became even more and more confusing. Like, what is going on here? And now it's starting to clear up a little bit. And, that's just the reality of working on this kind of stuff. Um, and I'm glad that it is getting a little clearer. But and I'm glad that I have a better, sort of a better grip of what I even want. I mean, I definitely think just this first array should be with hello. And then just this second array. How are you shouldn't have this hello array. And then it should only have these three things. Oh no, it should only have this second one. And then won't you tell me your name should have just the three. And I think that would be a lot more useful. It shouldn't have these two things. And it's just going to be a pain in the butt, right? Like it's just going to be like more teasing of the data, trying to figure out, okay, what am I adding that I shouldn't be adding? And it's sort of just the nature of dealing with things when you don't really understand what's going on. And that happens a lot when you're using like a lot of any's. And normally I don't want to use any's, but I have to use any's because this API, and these typings aren't defined yet. Um, they're still in flux. But anyway, so I think we made pretty good progress, and I think it's pretty cool. I really like. It's just it kind of blows my mind, right? Like that, it's giving me like different, like the different, like won't you tell me your name and why don't you tell me your name? Like they fit together pretty good. Like if you were doing poetry or or a song or something like that, these alternate transcriptions are seem like they would be extraordinarily useful. Um, so yeah, I think that's cool. It would be, and it would be very fascinating to know why these other, um, why it was, why it came up with these two. Is it like, did it do an analysis? Like, is there analysis of existing things that people said, and then it said, oh, okay, normally these, um, like normally this goes with it, but I heard you say this, but I think you might have meant this, like in the song, like um, I think it's a Billy Idol song. Is there a Billy Idol song where it has hello, comma, how are you? Or it starts with, I'm just curious if what the actual lyric is. Oh, mm, bird, a song that is something like hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Wow. I guess I have it stunned. I think these are all so many commonly used words that it's just like, let me just do a search in Google. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? Oh, it's by the Doors. Won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you. Won't you tell me? Oh, wow. So it's not even how are you? Oh my gosh. So all these years, I always thought it was hello, how are you? Won't you tell me your name? But now I realize it's hello, I love you. Won't you tell me your name? Ugh. So yeah. So why don't you tell? So yeah, I was completely had it completely wrong. And yeah, I've got this thing stunned. ChatGPT is just stunned. But it is kind of wild because just Google search was able to figure out what I meant. But Anyways, yeah, so I think we're making good progress. It is the last few, it's particularly this one, but the more than any, but the last few sessions have been pretty darn frustrating, I would imagine, to watch because they're just like a lot of just like trying to wrangle data, trying to get the data sort of in sync. And honestly, like I don't think I think that this data process would have been a lot easier had I not done discrete first. But then same problem. And I don't even know which one would be worse. I feel like it would be worse to have gone down continuous and said, "Oh, I'm all about handling all these different um, events and stuff, and blah 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 blah," and then you don't need to even worry about events in discrete. Discrete, you get a result. That's it. So I probably would have had discrete over engineered like crazy if I'd have started with continuous first. Then I came into continuous, and it's just not engineered nearly enough. Um, it's just way too primitive and way too few moving parts to handle the continuous um, data, the way the data comes in. So I feel like it's easier to go from it's ideal just to do it one or the other, because then I would have come at it and I would have done all the little pieces and it would have all come together nice and clean. Unfortunately, you kind of have to do just one or the other first, and when you do the one, it's kind of make it awkward when you do the other. Um, and maybe that is another thing. Maybe a lot of people have really run into stumbling blocks when they're trying to work with both, and it just the whole API is just difficult to work with, and maybe that's why it's just been sort of stagnant for probably like 5 years now. 4 or 5 years. It's just been kind of just sitting there, not doing anything. But anyways, happy coding. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.